Hey y'all, welcome to the Style Chronicles. I thought I would share with you guys how I accomplished this contoured eyelid with the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette. And this is kind of a look that, if you have hooded lids, one that works very, very nicely. It's kind of how to contour your hooded lid, or how I contour my hooded eyelid. And if you don't know what a hooded lid is, stay tuned and I will explain it to you. I'll show you on my lid exactly what it's like, or what it is. But just a very kind of everyday contoured eyelid with a bright lip, a really kind of, pop of pink. So if you like this, please stay tuned and see how I achieve it. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Okay, so I've got my foundation concealer on. I also already have my eyebrows, and I do have some blush on. I tend to put my blush on before I set my foundation, so that's all done. I'm just going to condition my lips with some rosebud salve. I'm trying to use mine up. It's lasted literally years. I love it just as much today as the day I first used it, and I've used it for so many other things. It's a great moisturizer for chapped areas, even like your kids' skin. I know when I have a cold, or my kids have a cold, or just allergies in general, and my nose is really, really raw, and it feels like anything you put on there will sting. The stuff works wonders. I put it on like overnight, and the next morning my skin, you can touch it. Like, sometimes when you have a cold, you blow so much you can't touch your skin. It's, it just kind of refreshes the skin. Same thing for my kids, especially when they have chapped lips too. That works really well. So, using that. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to take my Naked Basics palette, and those two shades, I use them both, the Foxy and the WOS. I always mix them. I mix them together. One is supposed to be a little bit more yellow, and the other one a little bit more beige. They kind of, to me, look the same, but I use them always together. I never really ever use just one. And I just put that onto my lid down here in this lower area. And of course I just picked up the wrong color. Darn it. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And that just kind of gives me a blank canvas to start my shadow on. I meant to put this on for you guys, sorry. To start my shadow on. Okay, so there is that. Now I'm going to use Naked 2, which is this really pretty shade right here. It's just kind of a taupey, but a very light, like pale taupey color, almost like a stone shade. And I'm going to get that onto my brush. This is a Smashbox 26, and I love this for crease work. Now, when you don't have a crease like I do, I don't have a defined crease. I have very hooded lids, and what I mean by hooded lids is when I look forward, you'll see there is no real crease in here. This is my crease down here, and when I open my eye, that part of my lid covers the rest of my lid. And sometimes, if my eyes are really poofy, this skin right here will actually invade my line of vision. And that's very common with hooded eyes. And it happens amongst every kind of ethnicity. You don't have to be one thing or another to have hooded eyes. I, for sure, am one of those people who just has hooded eyes naturally. I believe it's kind of like my grandmother had them, my dad has them. My mom has a very defined crease, my sister has a very defined crease, but mine is like this. So what I do is I try to create a crease, and anytime you're going to create a crease, it's best to work with these kinds of matte colors, which is why I love the Urban Basics palette so much. And the other reason too is, for the matte coloring, is when you put it on your skin, you don't want too much shimmer to jump out at you. You just want a subtle kind of shadow that looks like it makes that area recede. And if you put shimmer, any kind of shimmer, on that area, it does make it pop a little bit more. Okay, so the secret to creating a hooded lid is to go right where this crease is up here, right above that. Not too high, but don't go underneath it. You want to create a shadow right there. So I'm going to take my brush, I'm going to put it right above that crease area, and I'm just going to windshield wipe, or windshield swipe, it on, just kind of this motion, and you will see I'm just creating a shadow, literally. I'm sculpting out the area where I believe my crease would be. Now, your hooded eyes and my hooded eyes are of course going to be different. So I would suggest just always going right above where that crease would be, or if you look straight forward, you can kind of pinpoint where your crease would be, and you want to apply just in that area. And then, like I said, just keep it right here in that little kind of semicircular shape. You're like, it's almost like a half moon, but you know, it's not a half moon because it's not completely circular. And you just shade it in. Okay, just like so. Okay, and then I'm going to take my blending brush, and I use the MAC 217 for blending, and I'm just going to blend in that line so that there is really no visible line from where that crease starts to where it blends into my lid. And just like this, you can blend it in. Same thing on this side. Sorry, I have a mirror right here that I look into when I'm doing this kind of. And just make sure that it's really blended in. That's kind of the secret too, is really good blending. You really do have to blend a lot, blend more than you think you should, just so that that kind of looks like your lid and you're really getting that eyeshadow in there and working it into that crease area. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that faint color, which is this color, which to me, I always say looks like a deer. To me, it looks like just a deer out in the open or something. I'm going to take that, get it onto my brush very lightly, and that's just going to go on my outer corner right here, and that's going to create some depth in my crease. So I usually just stamp, and then go to the other side and stamp here. And it is kind of going out at a little bit of an angle. Always remember, when you do things on the outside of your eyebrow, never ever bring it down. So like if I was to turn, see, you can see the way this brush is shaped. If I was to turn this brush so that it was downward, so I'm stamping it like that instead of up like this, if it was downward, this would make my entire eye droop downward. So always when you're doing eyeshadow, work up, pull up in the outer area. Try to get it as lifted as you can, and that is true of anyone of any age, especially the older that the older you get. With hooded eyes, my eyes tend to just droop naturally. So any kind of lift that I can get in that outer area, and it's true of any shadow you put there, any liner, anything. Even, the mascara, you never want your mascara to go downward. You always want to flick it up and then kind of out in that other outer area. Okay, so once again, I just stamp that. And then I will pull it, moving my brush flat. And it's kind of all kind of a trick of how to wing the brush. With my brush, I will bring that in just a little bit, so it's not, you can see how it's just kind of coming onto my lid now. I'm just bringing it slightly onto my lid. I'm not bringing it all the way in, just a little, see, just ever so slightly in that outer crease. And that's just to kind of bring that shadow onto my lid. Then I'm going to go back in with my trusty 217. Now I have one 217 brush. That's all I've ever really needed. I don't have problems with excessive fallout or pigment from other colors. So in other words, if I was to do a lot of colorful eyeshadow, I would probably need more than one to blend. You'd want one for light shadows, medium shadows, and very dark shadows. Maybe even one for, blue pigmented shadows, green pigmented shadows, so you don't mix them, or you could wash in between. All my shadows tend to be brown-based, earth-based, taupey, earth colors. So my shadow brush, I don't really ever have to wash too much, other than just to clean it for hygienic purposes, but not in between blending. Okay, so my 217, I'm going to take it, and this outer area I'm going to leave alone. I'm just going to touch it up here, and I'm going to blend this into my skin so faintly that you almost don't even feel it on your lid. And then when you do that, you're pulling the shadow from the outer corner into that kind of crease. And that's it. Don't bring it all the way in, like you don't want to bring it over here. You just want it ever so lightly to blend into your skin out here. I know I should have used my other camera for this because you probably would be able to see it 1,000 times better. Once again, I'm not touching where I stamped it out here, just bringing this top edge in to my lid, like so. Okay. And this would be my completed contour for a daytime look. You can see how it's pretty, you know, contoured. Now, for nighttime, I'm just going to take it up a little bit, a notch. I'm going to take that Crave, which is just a very dark black brown. Once again, on my shadow brush, I'm just going to kind of, you just dab into the eyeshadow, and I'm going to stamp once again on that outer area. Make sure you turn your brush the proper way. This is if you have a brush like mine that has, it's, you know, wider than it is taller, I guess you could say. Either way you look at it, so that, you know, you get that kind of shape to your shadow. Okay, once again, the other side. Okay. And then with the blending brush, I'm just going to go in and blend that down across my lid and then up and out onto my lid, just so there's a little bit of darkness there that creates even more depth. And the same thing on this side. Okay. Now, one thing I do want to tell you is this little area in here, this little bitty, you see it right there, this piece of a lid that I have. Okay. If my lid was, I guess, more defined, if I had more of a contour there, I had more lid space, actual lid space, lower lid, or that, you know, below the contour line lid, you would want to highlight that with a shimmery shadow of some sort. And so, like for this one, you could use Venus right there, right in there. Because, and if it was just a little bit bigger, I would do that. Because I don't have so much of a lid, I don't really want to highlight the fact that it's so tiny, especially since I just contoured it. So I'm not going to put any shimmer there. And what I did with that black is I just kind of ran it with my brush across that area ever so lightly, okay? And that really does make that kind of area recede. Now you do have to blend in considerably, I mean really work it in there. And it just kind of, it's like a smoky eye for those of you who prefer your smoky eyes. I know I do. I love my smoky eyes because smoky eyes for hooded lids are the absolute best. It's going to help pull that together and really make that area recede more so that my eye pops a little bit more with the contour. Okay. And another reason for that is if I was to put a very light shadow here, once I had everything on my lid, when you look at me, whether you look at me from the side or whatever angle you're standing at, that's what you would see. You wouldn't see the contour so much, you would see more of this shimmer that I put in here. And then it would just be a very faint line. And you'll see it on some people who don't blend a lot, or, you know, a lot of people do it purposely. And it's pretty on some, you know, some lids. On my lids, I prefer to have it kind of a flush look to it, not, or, you know, so there's not so much just blending more, so that there's not so much differentiation between what I contoured and the rest of my lid. Okay, and then just blend, 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 like so. And lastly, we're going to do a highlight. Now, I used some glittery shadows. This is one of the times I should have washed my brush because I did use some shimmery shadows I was using Chanel's Fantasme last when I used this, and so it's got some glitter on it. Okay. That Venus shade, which is right here, it's a satin shimmery shade. I'm just going to get it onto my brush, and that's going to go underneath my brow as a highlight. Now for this, I always take it, I touch, wherever you touch the brush first is where your highest concentration of pigment is going to be. So I always want that to be right here at the highest part of my crease, or my highlight. Same thing on the other side, right here. I just always want that to be higher and more, you can see already where it pops out more. Now, for the rest of the color, I'm just going to take what I stamped there and blend it in. Now when I blend in, I always push into my eyebrows like this so that it really gets in there, the highlight. It makes my brow look like it's even more defined or higher than it is. So really push that in. And once you get it all worked in, I usually always take my blending brush and blend that too, because sometimes you'll see on people where they put highlight on, they don't blend it out, and it's just like a line of highlighter, and it's not blended, and it's like, wow, that kind of should have been blended. So what I do is I just touch it here and I lightly blend it into and pull it down onto my lid. Same thing on this side. Blend it in first and then pull it down onto your lid. Just so that it's there, but it's blended. It's nice. Okay, and I also pop that Venus onto the inner corner of my lid. I like it there. It's always nice to brighten up this area. And just remember, everything you do, you blend, 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 so there are no lines. And finally, I'm going to put some, let me just wipe away any excess. And then you would do mascara. Okay, so I have mascara on my lid now. I turned the camera off to do that because sometimes I just feel like it's mascara. You know, you guys know how to put mascara on. But I used the Bare Escentuals, or the Bare, what is it? Bare Escentuals Sculpted Lash Mascara by, it's the Buxom, or the Buxom, because I know people don't like how I say it, the Buxom line. Just in black. It's got a kind of curved one. So that's that. On my cheeks, I have Smashbox Soft Lights Duo in Supermodel. I'm just using this color. It's a very nice pink, not pale or anything like that. It's in between kind of a pink and a coral, but it's still got enough blue tones to it that it's not orange that I can wear, because I cannot wear coral toned orange blushes. They don't look good on me. So that is the blush I have on. And lastly, my lipstick. This is Nars Schiap, one of my absolute favorite bright pinks. It is kind of matte. Beautiful. I love this color. Of course, you guys know I'm no stranger to bright lipsticks. I love them. Okay, so this is the overall finished look. It's just a great great everyday contoured lid with the Naked Basics palette. And I know I do variations of this look all the time, and it looks, you know, great. I know I've done tutorials with the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette before. I tend to use every color in the palette every time I use the palette. I mean, it's every color goes on my lid. Sometimes it's just the, you know, contour color and that's it, if I'm in a hurry, but this is my overall favorite look. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll let you guys see up close. Oh, for foundation, I used my MAC Studio Fix Fluid, and then for concealer, the Studio Fix Concealer. I set with, where are you? Oh, here we go. The Nye Cameo Luxury Powder, which looks like that. And I'm Cameo because I'm not that yellow. I'm pretty fair, so Cameo is the one that matched me best. That is that. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.